Over my career, I've turned a lot of grant losses into winning millions. I'm going to show you how I learned the hard way the 5 most important lessons in grant writing. Hopefully, this can save you a lot of time and help you write your best first or next grant proposal. I'll start with the number 1 reason that 90% of grant proposals are rejected. Lesson number 1, your goals must equal the funder's goals. This is a primary lesson, and I talk about this a lot here on Grant Chatter. Grant funders have tried for years to tell us what they're interested in, but hundreds or thousands of people apply just because they see an opportunity and assume there's free money to be had. That assumption is wrong. Those proposals are rejected, and a lot of people are disappointed. So here is your first step to win in lesson number 1. If they have a website, which most grant funders do, take the time to study, pay close attention to what they want to support, which projects they're interested in, and where on the planet they want to spend their grant dollars. Here's how I learned this lesson the hard way. Bill Gates started his Gates Foundation while I was still early in my career. I did my research. I checked their website. Anybody remember websites from the 1990s? At that time, the Gates Foundation had a youth education grant, and my youth education program was a match. Problem, they only supported those programs in Seattle, and my program and I were on the opposite side of the country. But I thought I could convince them that my program was worth the break in their geographic rule. I was wrong. Why? Because even if they thought my project was a great fit, if they gave me a grant outside those geographic rules, then that would open the option for anybody else. Even with the wealth of Bill Gates, the foundation didn't have enough funds to support anyone who asked from anywhere. That is why all the funders' goals, including preferred locations for support, are vital to understand. So now you know the number 1 way to select best grants for your needs. And feel free to let the others go. Lesson number 2, don't be afraid of writing. This is the next big step for most people getting into grants. Let me hopefully assure you with a big pro tip here. Grant funders aren't asking you to be the next Shakespeare or Jane Austen. They just need the questions to be answered and for those answers to be consistent throughout the proposal. Can you use AI? Sure, but understand that AI will give you a dry and boring answer. I use AI to help start the process because I never like staring at a new blank grant proposal. The lesson I've learned over many proposals is that grant funders have become very sensitive to high-level writing skills or dry content like the stuff AI gives you. They often say that they don't want a proposal that looks like a grant writer wrote it. Yeah, thanks for that. After all, being a grant writer is how I pay my bills. But then, what do funders actually want? What funders want is what they call authentic voice. That means that they want to hear your passion for your community or your new business. So a grant proposal becomes a mix of writing skills that are good enough to get a consistent point across, but also with your genuine enthusiasm because they want to feel that as well. There's a good bit more to writing a grant proposal, which I share in many videos here on Grant Chatter, including the latest video on my top grant writing hacks for this year, linked above and in the description below. Lesson 3, the details make all the difference. If you're into details, then this is your happy place. If not, then hopefully I can help you feel comfortable enough to dive into the effort. Grant funders are not into high-risk investment. They want to be sure that the grant dollars they award will go to a service or a business that can do what was promised in the proposal. That means that they will ask for goals, timelines, how you will measure results, and how many supporters or funders are also part of this project. You may have all of that, but be sure that the information matches across the entire proposal and all of its forms. I think my most embarrassing error in this category was a grant proposal a long time ago where we really flubbed the details. We said that we would serve 100 people in the proposal, but missed that the budget showed only serving 50 people. We didn't catch it, but the funder did. Proposal declined. Lesson number 4, don't be afraid to ask questions. Fortunately, while grant funders will ask a lot from you, they also provide a lot of resources that help you prepare a competitive proposal. Many funders have free virtual workshops about the grant writing process. I always like the Q&A session the most because that's a good place to ask detailed questions and hear detailed answers. Some funders offer individual meetings, though this is often for local or statewide grants and not usually the national funders. If you have written a grant but were declined, this is still a time to ask questions. Thank the funder for the time to review your proposal and ask for feedback. You might get some good insights that will help strengthen a proposal in the future because you can often apply again. Here's my hard lesson in this grant category. I was part of a grant team working on a regional project for libraries. One grant funder in particular had supported many library programs in that area for years, but our proposal was declined. The funder had an office and a staff member who answered people's questions, so we asked for feedback. We learned that even though libraries are listed on their website as an area of interest, their board had decided to take a break from library projects. If we had asked questions before applying for the grant, we would have saved a lot of time and effort. You're probably seeing, through my mistakes, what I was beginning to see. Grants have a lot of quirks, but these 4 lessons altogether can help you achieve success with grants. You know which ones to choose. You have resources to help you write a competitive proposal. You know that most grant funders welcome some level of communication to answer your questions. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. Now here is a lesson that can be just as frustrating as it is liberating. Let me explain. Lesson number 5. Sometimes the answer is just no. For me, this one has been the deepest lesson to understand that we're all just humans on both sides of a complicated grant process. So it will always be a bit rocky. Here's what I mean. If you are a first-time applicant to a grant funder, the answer might be an automatic no. By asking questions, you might learn that you have to apply a few times before getting any traction. It's up to you whether you want to pursue that. Sometimes a funder will award the grant, but for much less than you asked for. That is certainly a reason to ask for feedback. What often happens is that either they wanted to give everybody something, so they spread the awards very thin, or they want to give the program a year or two to see if it succeeds before awarding more money. Both of those reasons happened to me just this month. Here are 3 other times I've experienced when a funder automatically said no, and each one of them had a different reason. When the economy is tough, a funder may choose to support only the most basic needs, such as food and shelter. Multiple times, a funder has told me that it's time for a break after awarding us a grant for a few years in a row. It can be a 1-year break, or it can be a long time, or it can be permanent. Other times, we just didn't make it high enough on the priority list. In one instance, the funder decided to award 15 grants, but they had ranked our proposal at number 16. Those are all certainly frustrating experiences, so how can they be liberating? I'll at least say it's liberating for me because I know better where our proposals fit and where they don't. I know better which funders to focus on and which ones to avoid. That also keeps my success rate higher. Speaking of success rates, I finished out last year with $1 million in grants awarded, and I share all my tips and tricks on how that happened in this video. See you there.